was nothing was ever written about California Indians. You know, we were just hidden. You read about the Cheyenne, the Sioux, everybody, but no California Indians. The teacher said there was no Indians in California. I said, what? The teacher saying that? He said, yeah, I was in high school. I said, what kind of teachers do they have here? You know? Well, see, she never read anything about it. She doesn't really know.
My name is Michael McLaughlin, and I'm the librarian in charge of the American Indian Resource Center, the largest public library collection in the United States to feature American Indian materials. For California, we do have a section of books, and we also have the microfilm. We probably have two of the most unique collections as far as the microfilm is concerned. This is before California became a state. You see the exploration of government, of the letters from the generals, the letters from the people who were in California, trying to explain what California is, the relationships with the Indians and where they were. And the collection is handwritten letters, so it can be fairly difficult to read. And it really covers a lot of different topics because, again, this is the raw material. So you're talking about problems that the government is having with the Indians being encroached upon by white settlers, so you're dealing with some very raw issues. For example, here's a letter that was written to the President Zachary Taylor, January 23rd, 1850. This is from an Indian agent in Benicia, California, and what he's writing to the President is, respectfully, I would represent that the Indians in the Sierra Nevada are driven in large numbers from their usual haunts, are consequently deprived of their customary food, acorns, and hence are exposed to starvation. That they are often killed because when urged by hunger, they have attempted to seize horses or cattle of the American immigrants. The Indian women and children, guilty of no offense, are frequently put to death, and sometimes in cold blood, in these onslaughts. That a system of serfdom still continues on the Spanish ranches in this country. So you will see letters of this type and some that deal with basically the relationships that the Indians were having with white people more specifically. In that period from 1850 to roughly 1900, the estimated population of California Indians went from about 300 to 500,000 to less than 20,000. So in a period of 50 years, you're looking at a drop of like 90% of the population. So what these letters help to show is how that the chaos that was the process of establishing California as a state, how that impacted Indians. California came into the Union in a very rapid, unplanned manner, unlike most of the other states, because the gold was discovered. The government process was very quick, it was very random, and it was very unofficial. So you had non-Californians racing into California to try to get the gold. You had the Indians who were essentially in the way. And you had the government agents trying to control both the Indians and both the new settlers. But you also have the copies of the original treaties that were done by the mission of Washington diplomats that was sent to California to establish the 18 treaties. So you will have the description of what the lands they were talking about, what the provisions of the treaties were, You have lists of the people who signed the treaties, the Indians who signed the treaties, and these were often described in the American interpretation of what the name was. And then you'll see the little X's where the people, the Indians who were involved, acknowledged their recognition of the treaty. But what is also part of that is because those treaties were not ratified, when, after the gold was discovered, you will see the documentation talking about, for example, from the agents saying, when are we going to get the resources to feed these people that we gathered on this reservation? And often they're not receiving the materials. The U.S. government had a role in these relationships. This set of documents also documents is the control, or actually more the lack of control, of what was actually transpiring. It was part of the general chaos of California becoming a state of the union, but these letters help show the specifics of what was happening at different locations. This is really the heart of how California came to be, behind all the romantic stories that we hear of today. What one often finds in looking at these government documents is that there's not specific rationale. There's not really a guidelines. Like today we take for granted that there's going to be an introduction, say when we look at a book or any kind of work, that there's going to be a table of contents, that there's sort of a rationale why this publication exists. But in a lot of these old materials, it's just there. And there's no explanation of why it is there, or why it excluded some people, why it didn't include others.
When my grandparents give their word, they had to keep it. So we got stuck by keeping our word and being honorable people. I can't break my word to this day. Okay, and everybody else can change the rules and change the story, but we can't break our word.